So for our upcoming Battletech game, we're each bringing one lance to the table. And we're not doing so much battle value, we're doing more tonnage. And we're putting some restrictions on essentially one assault class mech, one heavy mech, classic lance, one medium, and one light within a select range. So I'm thinking about, okay, what do I want to play? How are we going to play it? Here's what I'm bringing. I'm 99% bringing, and this is the dangerous challenge for me personally. Once I lock something in, I get so excited, and then the night before I start thinking about other grand ideas and grand plans, and I start changing things on there, even though I've devoted numerous tech manual hours and just really wargaming and strategizing things out. So I really have no plans to change this, and I'm going to fight. I'm going to fight my thoughts of changing it at that last moment. I say this as an exercise because I think it's important when you build a lance, and I'm going to illustrate this with my choices. When you build a lance, you need to have a theme. And by theme, I mean, well, I should replace theme. You need to have a plan. We're going all, Hannibal A-team in here, in that how are you going to execute what you're going to execute? What is the strategy on the tabletop? Have a plan going in. This makes you an active player, active versus passive. Active players, meaning this is the plan, this is what I'm going to do, this is how I'm going to try and do it. It might work out, it might not, but I'm really going to push that forward against the opposition. A passive player is someone that just kind of says, well, I don't really have a plan, I'll see what my opponent does. And the challenge with that of sitting back and seeing what your opponent or the opponents do, if it's a big game, you become reactionary. You become defensive. That means you're always one step behind in a turn-based war game. It's a little bit more challenging. It's hard to seize the initiative. It's hard to dictate the flow. All of these things, these concepts which are important regardless of system. All right, my choices. Assault mech, Victor. Autocannon 20, jump jets, running up there, going to get point blank. Don't know the maps we're playing on. Hopefully it's not an open, dry desert. If it's city fight, we're ready to go. But regardless, I'm going in super aggressive, AC-20, right to your face, and then brawling it out. Going in, I'm going to jump around a little bit. Going in, wingman, hunchback on there. Hunchback's going to also run in with the AC-20. If you try to lock down or you try to engage one will get in there. I build in the redundancy by having two AC-20s on different platforms on there, and we're going to see. The Hunchback also has the ability to brawl it out a little bit, although, well, 1 in 6 chance of hitting head and the tonnage versus the medium lasers, I would prefer to brawl. And I'm going to be up that close anyway. I want to be one hex away for the absolute minimum on that AC-20 plus just punching away. So that's going to be the tag team. That's going to be the team of doom going in there and doing what it has to do. Heavy mech, Orion. I was thinking about a support mech in there, maybe a rifleman or a Jaeger mech or something, but that having command of just one lance means a dedicated support mech. I'm going to be hanging back with that. I need to be working together as a team. And I need something on the way in, because I've got two very, very close point-blank pit fighter brawling type mechs. I've got the long-range missiles on the Orion. We've got the other weapons on the Orion. So it gives it something on the way in, and then the Orion can add a little bit of weight where it needs to be. If the thrust of the attack in the moment is the target of the Victor and the Hunchback, maybe the Orion throws a little bit of pain on there, a little bit of extra dice. If other stuff is going on and I need a little bit of a holding action, we'll put the Orion on there. It's kind of a wild card because I need to fill in. I'm not going to have redundancy in other areas. I'm not going to have proficiency in other areas, but at least I have some sort of an answer. A kind of weak answer, not the best answer, but I've got something. Jack of all trades, trying to leverage that on a heavy type mech with the armor. we'll see what I can do. I was thinking Warhammer, but we've got heat issues on there. Not that the Orion can't build heat, but again, the Orion kind of has all the range brackets pushing it out there, ready to go. Light mech, Commando. Light mech, Commando. The Commando, its speed is okay. Doesn't have the jump, but the lasers and the short-range missiles, my hope, I shouldn't say hope because we just said active versus passive players. As an active player, my plan is to run up there and blast with those autocannon 20s. And if something dictates and changes where I can't finish you off, a fresh target appears, a stalker comes out of nowhere, I don't know what, something that I need to engage, but I don't want to leave that other mech or that other target unengaged. If I've punched through with that autocannon 20 on there, I figure in 2 turns I'll hit you with at least 2 of those on there. That's going to open up some spots. If it's rear armor, that's going to open up some spots. I think the Commando has the firepower and the staying ability to be kind of like a little mini-me crit hunter on there in this role to do that. So pushing that out, I could have gone with a Jenner, and a Jenner probably would be the more logical choice to play. I could still swap that out on there. But the challenge with the Jenner, what I find is, and I would say, I like both mechs. I would say, though, Jenner is a superior mech. Based on the tightness of my Lance, and that I have 2, I've got a medium and an assault mech dedicated to close-in AC-20 brawling big guns, and I've dedicated the Orion to fire on the way in and maybe plugging any holes temporarily. If I take the Jenner, I'm going to be tempted to do some really crazy outflanking stuff or running up the sides of the table, utilizing speed, maybe hit and run. I'm going to be tempted to do that if those opportunities present itself. And that's good and that's correct and that's what it's supposed to do. If I take the Commando in this role, it forces me to just do that. So if the opportunity presents itself, that's outside of my role, that's outside of the spectrum, I'm going to have to pass. Where if I play the Jenner, normally with a well-rounded Lance, you would tactically take advantage of anything with that Jenner. But I can't have that temptation with this build. That's the plan going in. The Dogs of War coming back off the table. And we'll see how things play out. Your thoughts, your interpretations of this build, and some of the pitfalls maybe to consider. Inner Sphere, tech level mechs or mech combinations in a Lance. You only get 4 mechs. That's it. You got to spend your tonnage on 4 mechs. 1 of each weight class. What challenges do you anticipate, or what would be those flags kind of popping up that, not the best matchup for me?